Time for the men's championship game at the 2017 USA Ultimate College National Championships. UNC-Wilmington and Carlton have earned their spots in the final. Two storied programs, not necessarily two giant state school type programs, but in the world of Ultimate, you know UNCW and Carlton. And yesterday's semifinals could not have been any more thrilling. Carlton narrowly edging the top seed UMass, and UNCW sneaking past their state rival with an incredible comeback. We welcome you in. It's great to have you with us. Ian Toner's got a couple gold medals in his cabinet. I am Evan Lepler, and yesterday we saw two absolute nail-biters down to the wire. The tiniest margins throughout the tournament have decided games. So what are you looking at today in this men's final?
To be honest, I think this is going to come down to upwind efficiency. There's a slight breeze in the air that's a challenge for the average thrower. The team that can value those upwind opportunities and execute consistently and efficiently is going to be putting itself in a position to succeed.
Well, these are two programs that are used to playing in adverse weather conditions. It's very windy in eastern North Carolina, where UNC-Wilmington trains and competes. This program founded in 1988. They've got attitude, they've got swagger, little stigma through the years for UNCW, but this edition might have the greatest player in school history in Jack Williams.
Evan, you and I were talking with Carleton College coach Nick Stewart just before the game started. He's the type of player that can threaten you all over the field no matter what he's doing. Stewart said he's not the type of player you stop. You have to decide how you want him to impact the game. Is he going to throw goals? Is he going to receive goals? Is he going to be an impact player downfield defensively? And last night, he was all over the field, throwing 9 assists and 1 goal, leading his team to an incredible comeback victory. None more important than this game-winning shot here on double game point.
They were down 12-8. That was the clincher that won it 14-13. Their opponent today, Carleton College Cut. These two schools did not meet during the regular season, but this Carleton program looking for its 4th title, its first since 2011. It's a tiny school, just 2,000 students in Northfield, Minnesota, and yet they have built an ultimate empire. And this year, Alex Olson is the star center handler. His throws in the wind yesterday were huge against UMass.
They made all the difference. He had just the right amount of touch when he was throwing the disc downwind and just the right amount of power and finesse when he was throwing the disc upwind, finding Lanier, Fisher, and other receivers when he needed to. When he came into this program, he may not have been the star center handler his freshman year. But over the years, he's seized the opportunities that have been given to him, and he is now a consistent focal point of their offense.
Yeah, that last upwind throw was a beauty and really helped Carleton take control in the second half in their 1-score win, knocking off the top seed. They already knocked off the defending champs from last year as well. Well, the competition began on Friday. There had been 101 games of consequence. There's one left, UNCW and Carleton, and it's next. The USA Ultimate College Championships are brought to you in part by Discraft Ultrastar. Find the official disc of USA Ultimate at more than 1,900 U.S. retail locations. By 5 Ultimate, making life better for Ultimate players from the end zone to the dance floor. And by the DQ A1 Bacon Cheeseburger $5 lunch at participating locations. Just about ready for the opening pull in the men's final. There's some of the members of UNC Darkside. They were so close to being here, but it's UNCW and the Seamen with J.D. Hastings, who's in his first year as a grad student in Wilmington after graduating, playing 4 years in Chapel Hill. Matt Ellis, the freshman, leads UNCW in goals. Henninghausen had the game winner last night. Williams, Mateer, Stewart, Russell. How about the versatility? They're all listed as cutters on the UNCW score sheet. Brian Casey leads Wilmington. Carleton College with Tim Schock, Eric Taylor, Ethan Bloodworth, Elliot Mobby, Joe White, very dangerous downfield. White and Henry Fisher, the leading scorers. with Chris Padilla and Saul Yannick. That's a look at the D-line for Carleton. It's a gorgeous afternoon here in Franklin, Ohio, just outside Cincinnati. A tournament that began on Friday morning with 40 teams, 20 in the men's division, 20 in the women's division. We've already crowned Dartmouth on the women's side. UNCW versus Carleton. It's a 7-on-7 game. We played a 15, half times at 8. Once you catch the disc, you set a pivot foot. There's no number of steps you can take. Your momentum stops. You set the pivot foot. You throw it within 10 seconds. It's self-officiated. There are observers to resolve disputes. An emotional night for Hastings. Carleton College went to the Olive Garden. Got some Italian food after their game yesterday. Relaxed, enjoyed their time together as a team. One final game in their 2017 journey. Phil Bowen, the head coach, calls the defense. There's Nick Stewart in the red shirt in the bottom of your screen as well. Nick made the cut, no pun intended. One of the final 14 on the USA World Games team that we officially announced during the first final today at the half of the Dartmouth-Texas game. Plastic flies 175 grams in the air, and perhaps some nerves as the opening pull sails wide of the playing field proper.
For anyone catching up and tuning into their first game, a brick occurs when a pull lands out of bounds, and the thrower will take the disc at a predetermined spot in the middle of the field.
First touch for J.D. Hastings. And downfield, Connor Russell. Henninghausen, marked by White. That'll be a matchup to watch. Jack Williams is being chased around by Tim Schock. And to the open side. How about that? UNCW works it down without their star even touching the disc once. Matt Ellis, his team best 19th goal of the tournament.
Matt Ellis, just a freshman on this North Carolina-Wilmington roster, already having a huge impact on the Seamen offense. Beating his mark to the fore-side cone. Not something that you're expecting to see on the first point of the game. He's been an imposing presence all weekend, very instrumental in Wilmington's key upset against Pittsburgh, the higher-seeded powerhouse in pool play.
Yeah, that game was when the mindset for UNCW changed, and perhaps they believed all along, but maybe we should say it was when everyone else's mindset of UNCW changed. That win over Pittsburgh on Saturday morning was the definitive moment when you thought, wow, this UNCW team might be able to do something special. They didn't look great against UConn and Texas A&M on Friday, but the win over Washington was pretty much wire to wire in the quarters. Yesterday was not wire to wire in the semis, but they got the job done when it counted. Carleton's offense with Natan Lee Engel, Stan Birdsong. He looks off Jake Rittmeyer. Hastings chasing Alex Olson. Williams is downfield chasing Rittmeyer. Olson underneath Dylan Lanier. Birdsong. Under defense from Jack Williams, but a foul called.
And I believe, judging on that angle, it does look like Williams hit the receiver's hand. And Mitch will uphold the foul call. That's Mitch Dangler, head observer.
Lee Engel up the line for Birdsong. Bluffs a backhand. Crossfield Scuba, Rittmeyer. Breaks Williams. Is it in bounds? No, sir.
A really tough break throw. When you're in the red zone, unless the stall count is really high, I don't think you want to take those really challenging break looks.
Higher degree of difficulty than it needed to be in that situation. Williams picks up on the pylon to Hastings. Back across to Jack.
I'd be surprised to see Williams and Hastings take more than 1 or 2 points off this entire game.
There's a pick called downfield. Unlike basketball, you're not allowed to set screens for your teammates. If a pick is set, if you're an offensive player and you run your defensive player through a crowd, through a bunch of bodies, the defender calls a pick, and the defender's allowed to catch up if he's within 10 feet of the offensive player he's chasing.
Great mark there by Henry Fisher, selling out to prevent Williams from winding up that big flick huck.
Yesterday, UNCW fell behind 2-0. They were behind pretty much all game. The 14-13 lead they took. The 13-12 lead was their first lead of the game.
That disc is going back to Mateer because of a foul call, claiming that the defender made contact with him before he released the disc.
Williams being chased by Fisher on the mark.
Two teammates in the men's club division playing together on Raleigh's Ring of Fire.
And a couple members of that Raleigh team on Carleton, both Yannick and Fisher with North Carolina roots, played for the ring team that went to the semis at Club Nationals in Rockford last fall. Great defense on the mark, and after a couple bops in the air, it's taken by Lanier.
Lanier, another triangle area native. Just a freshman, but playing important minutes here for Carleton. A number of goals in yesterday's semifinals appearance as well. Very great, aggressive, adaptive mark from Lanier there, enabling him to get the hand block.
Rittmeyer got it to Olsen, who winds up deep and finds Fisher. Couple turnovers on the point, but Carleton holds.
Yeah, a few more turnovers than we expected here in the first points of this game, but once again, just like we talked about at the top of the show, Olsen is someone that you have to account for defensively. His throwing prowess is not to be underestimated, and he put this outside in backhand perfectly to deep threat Henry Fisher. Another youngster from Carolina Friends who plays on that Raleigh Ring of Fire club team.
Olsen, a Seattle native. One of many. There are 6 Seattle natives on this Carleton squad. Also 6 players from North Carolina and 6 players from Massachusetts. Of course, they beat UMass in the semifinals yesterday. There's members of Carleton Syzygy, the women's club team that has been in the finals before. Williams lets it fall. Tim Schock from Lexington, Massachusetts on the mark, and Williams taking his time, making sure the defense doesn't strand him. Horizontal stack, and Williams lets it fly. Wide open deep for the moment, and then making up the ground was White. Intended for Richards.
Joe White, another freshman on this Carleton roster, who's had an outsized impact. There was one point in his pre-quarterfinal matchup where over a 4-point span, he notched 2 goals, 2 assists, and 2 blocks
against the defending champions. You're talking about the Michigan game. I'm thinking of the Minnesota game. They both were impressive performances from Carleton. Yannick. To White. Carleton moving downfield. Taylor shoots it. End zone. Incomplete. 6'4" Elliott Mobby with just the slightest of misreads on the upwind shot.
And great pressure there from Hennighausen. Closing the angle, forcing him to make a play on it, perhaps a second earlier than he might have liked to. But remember that missed break chance for Carleton, as soon as I say that, they get the disc right back.
Yannick, great anticipation, poaching into the open side lane. Second turnover of the point for Wilmington. And this one, Carleton pays off. The first upwind break of the day scored by Tim Schock. Carleton College with an early 2-1 lead here at Nationals. Tim Schock scoring the first upwind break of the day in the men's final. After the turnover, Yannick read the underneath look intended for Matt Ellis. And then Padilla finding Schock on the quick swing and score. So it's 2-1 Carleton.
Just when we thought Carleton had missed their upwind break opportunity, they got the disc right back and punched it in with that short field, red zone offense, as this pull sails just out the back of the end zone, and Willie Stewart will pick up at the brick. Stewart coming into an elevated role on the offense this weekend. Austin McGrain, one of the top offensive players for the Wilmington Seamen, going down with a hamstring injury on the last point of Wilmington's quarterfinal victory over the University of Washington.
Also without Grayson Sanner, a key member of their team, as Ellis flubs the undercut. Sanner diagnosed with mono shortly before Nationals. A big loss. And yet this Wilmington team is the only squad of the 20 in the men's division that has gone through the tournament undefeated. In fact, they're the only tournament in either division that so far has gone through undefeated. The women's champions Dartmouth were knocked off in pool play by Oregon. Back-to-back breaks for cut. Eric Taylor makes it 3-1 Carleton.
So Hastings breaking the mark with the inside shot, and Ellis just clapping his hands a bit too soon. A sure catch that should have been made.
Back-to-back assists for Padilla on the D-line. Another freshman in red, Chris Padilla from Lexington, Mass. And a timeout taken by UNC-Wilmington after back-to-back breaks.
Carleton boasting one of the youngest rosters in the men's division here this weekend. With all of this young talent taking the program this far this weekend.
Well, Carleton, a program that won national titles in 09 and 2011. They went to 4 straight semifinals in that span. It's been a while since they've been back in the semis. 3-1 in pool play. The loss to UNC. They came from behind to beat Colorado. They came from behind to beat Minnesota, and they narrowly edged UMass. This is Carleton's first trip back to the finals at nationals since a tragedy struck the school late February of 2014 when 3 members of the team on their way to the airport on an icy day in Minnesota were in a car accident that cost them their lives. And everybody in the Carleton family still thinks about James Adams, Michael Goodgame, and Paxton Harview on a daily basis. 3 members of the family lost way too soon. Bill Bowen has been leading Carleton for 8 years now, since 2010. He's got his own style.
And he's complemented well by Nick Stewart on his coaching staff as well. Nick having grown as a player under Bowen's leadership, and now, as you mentioned earlier, a member of the USA Ultimate World Games roster, competing in Poland this summer.
Gotta think this is a critical downwind spot here for Wilmington. Jack Williams on the field for his 5th consecutive point. He's got no rest outside of the stoppages and the timeouts. One thing Nick Stewart talked about in how they're going to try and contain Williams, a strong mark is imperative. Want to make throws tough for him. We want a guy who's not necessarily going to get blocks, but a guy who's going to be in his way. And the Carleton defense nearly suffocating UNCW, but Williams breaks free and finds an open man, Colin White.
Not as pretty as they might have liked.
They have not signaled goal yet.
Thank you, good trip.
And now they have. 3-2.
Unsure whether there was a travel call that may have been rescinded there. But Williams, once again, bailing the team out of a pickle, making that contested catch in tight space, and wasting no time in shooting the goal shot up the break side into the end zone. Colin White in the right place at the right time after Jack Williams made that grab.
It looks like the disc somehow dogged Tim Schock's hands as he was reaching in the breadbasket of Williams.
Yep.
White the goal, Williams the assist, and for Jack, his 34th assist of the weekend. Williams still has not left the field. Olsen, Natan Lee Engel, the dual anchors of this Carleton attack. Olsen rips one. Fisher again, and he dropped it.
And he could have even taken another step, I think, and made that grab in the end zone.
Bizarre play. Williams and Hastings initiate. Mateer. Back to Jack. Here it comes. Fisher defending. Incomplete. Henninghausen so close.
Great work by Fisher to make up for that drop, and you saw him overtake Henninghausen, maintain his position, and prevent Henninghausen from making the grab.
Olsen again. This time he wants Alex Walker. Maybe a little bit of a force. Excellent defense from Mateer.
Hard to see or say exactly what separation Olsen saw at the point of release. It looked like Mateer had good defensive position the whole way.
It can go bad quickly, though, if you turn it over near the goal line. Olsen, 2 turnovers on the point for number 6, but Carleton's in control, 4-2 in the men's final. Alex Olson, the junior studio art major from Seattle, with an assist earlier and now a score after the lefty backhand from Williams went awry. Natan Lee Engel, the D and the dime, as Carleton held after a couple turnovers on the point.
Great heads-up defense from Lee Engel there, understanding what Williams was looking for, peeling off of his own defensive assignment to get that block and make the play.
With Ian Toner, Evan Lepler along with you here at Bishop Fenwick High School in Franklin, Ohio, site of the semis and finals of the 2017 USA Ultimate College National Championships. An injury downfield, and it's Ellis who goes down. Hard to tell if he collided with Taylor or if it was a totally non-contact thing. We certainly hope Ellis is okay. He is in some pain. If you missed it, at halftime of the first final, we unveiled the 14 athletes who will represent Team USA in Poland this July. These athletes were selected from a final roster of 20 after 64 athletes tried out. 7 men and 7 women making the final roster. Unfortunately, 6 players had to be cut. Feel particularly happy for Sandy Jorgensen and Anna Nazaroff, who were in that 6-member crew that was cut last time. Bo Kittredge in his 3rd World Games. Nick Stewart coaching Carlton. He got a phone call on Thursday at the hotel with the team, and he had a big smile on his face. Ellis getting helped off the field. The 6 members of the team that were cut on the men's side, Joel Schlockett, Ashlyn Joy, and Nikki Spiva. And on the women's side, Opie Payne, Claire Chastain, and Candy Groom. And I think those 6 players could add meat to their team and win a lot of games, and I have nothing special.
High expectations for this team, having won gold in Cali, Columbia in 2013.
That would be a dream, by the way, to be the 7th person on that line with Joel, Ashlyn, Nikki, Cammie, Opie, and Claire. Just get out of the way. Jack Williams taking care of business. And he comes up hobbling a little bit.
Can't say enough about this breakthrow by Russell. Breaking the mark on the goal line. And as soon as he catches it, a little discomfort. It looked as though he was sprinting at a normal speed.
Impressive throw by Russell, 6'4" freshman. And this will be Williams' first point on the sidelines today. He's played the first 7. There's Ellis. Looking at the right foot.
A huge testament to Wilmington's offensive depth here. At this point, they've lost Grayson Sanner just before the tournament to illness. They lost Austin McGrain in the quarterfinals. Matt Ellis just going down with an injury a few points ago.
Well, you think back to a year ago at this time and all the injuries that University of Minnesota Grey Duck dealt with, having guys change roles on the fly in the final. And they won their first title. A lot of people thought that Grey Duck looked like the strongest team in the men's field this year through the first 2 days, but you wake up early Sunday morning, an 8:30 a.m. call for the quarterfinal round, and you run into a Carleton team that's capable of beating anybody. Minnesota's offense had been so good through pool play, but the O-line was broken one time early in the second half, and then the floodgates kind of opened. Phil Bowen's team got a string of breaks. Now Wilmington looking to break to get back on serve. They would need 2 breaks to get back on serve after Carleton broke twice. Deep shot, end zone, Warfel, got it.
What a phenomenal throw by Henninghausen. And an easy swing that sails just out of bounds from Fisher to Olsen.
How about Phil Bowen spiking the disc, the coach of Carleton?
Not happy about an unforced turnover, and Fisher's got to be more responsible there defensively. He needs to get all the way over to the sideline to stop that puck from going up that break side sideline. With the defense they were playing, they were trying to force throws coming from the flick side of the receiver. Incredible fearless rip from Henninghausen. Great rundown by Warfel. And something else that might be even more impressive, Wilmington was able to convert that break without Jack Williams on the field.
Or Matt Ellis, or Grayson Sanner, or Austin McGrain. Are the stars aligning for the men from Wilmington?
Good to see Williams back out there.
That is good. You know, the last couple years, Ian, this type of run was more expected from UNCW. Not to say they're not pretty stacked right now, but I'm not sure this team was as talented as the team from last year, the team from the year before.
Right.
They were a higher seeded team coming into nationals each of the past 2 years. And yet both seasons fell short when it counted. Last year in Raleigh, year before that in Milwaukee. Of course, 3 years ago in Cincinnati, they played particularly well.
This disc is going to come back because I believe Joe White's defender may have called a pick.
Okay, so it stays here.
J.D. Hastings trying to win championships at the college level with 2 different schools. One with University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, 2 years ago. Big bid from Williams to the end zone. Joe White there on the nice touch pass from Eric Taylor.
And you see Williams here poaching off his initial responsibility. And I don't think Warfel realized that there was another potential receiver for him to pick up further behind him as White snuck open in that front corner.
And I got to put you on the spot. Now, UNCW playing their 7th game at Nationals. When you think about all those games, plus the drills before the games, ballpark, how many times do you think Jack Williams has hit the ground bidding for discs, for bids, for scores? I mean, it's got to be triple digits, right?
Well, if he's smart, he's kept it calm and under control in warm-ups and in practices this weekend. I'm going to keep it in double digits for this weekend. But there's no doubt that he's had a huge impact, and you know, every bit of rest that he can get between points is incredibly valuable and crucial to the potential success of the Seamen squad.
Williams on the sideline for this 0 point. It's Hastings and Stewart handling.
Carleton throwing a junky zone look, trying to take Seamen out of its initial string to start.
Foul called.
Hey, you're coming in from behind on that, all right? So just watch it.
I didn't touch his back.
Okay. Okay.
Schock, who has been guarding Williams when Jack's been out there, now guarding Stewart.
Surprised to hear Schock say he didn't touch Willie Stewart at all. It looked like there was contact.
UNCW also on offense without Matt Ellis, missing Williams and Ellis. The freshman Ellis hasn't played since he was helped off the field. Nice vision, using the width, 40 yards wide, 70 yards long from the front of one end zone to the other, with 20-yard end zones to attack.
You spoke about this earlier, Evan. Given their proximity to the ocean,
Hastings connects with Richards for the score, upwind for the Seamen.
the Seamen practice in windy conditions all day, every day. So this breeze is nothing new for them, and everyone on this line getting involved, exercising patience, using the width of the field to break this Carleton zone.
That's about as basic of a dumb swing as you can see, but one of the tenets of ultimate fundamentals.
Changing that point of attack, constantly forcing defenders to reposition and evaluate where the most dangerous space on the field is. It's what moving that disc laterally can do.
I'd say the loyalties are somewhat divided in this crowd. Williams back out there to pull.
A number of the UNC dark side parents pulling for dark side alum J.D. Hastings and hoping that he'll succeed.
Birdsong unleashes a huge flick hook. Got his man.
And you see Williams limping slightly as well after that score.
Birdsong to Walker, 6'5", Carlton. Alex Walker catching the deep shot from Stanley Birdsong to give Carleton a 6-5 lead. 5th score of the tournament for Walker. And a pretty nice shot from Birdsong. Yet another Carleton freshman.
And another great upwind flick, Huck. Both teams appearing relatively unfazed.
We talk a lot about the Seattle youth scene, Massachusetts, North Carolina. How about the program Stan Birdsong came from?
Hailing from Paideia in the Atlanta area. As this disc is going to be taken from the back of the end zone.
J.D. Hastings playing his 9th straight point for UNCW. Kevin Mateer's been out there all of the last 9 as well. Russell takes a shot. A freshman mistake, as that's not coming back. Nice catch by a UNCW fan across the way. But a big Wilmington turnover going upwind. Never had a shot. This Carleton D-line has been so smooth. Fisher, not this time. Upwind, that's a goal. Downwind, need a little bit more float.
Absolutely. Upwind, that'll sit just a bit longer on the wind.
Good cut by Richards. Low reset, dug out by Stewart. Contact, it appears, on the mark. Chris Padilla, the defender.
Hold up. Let him set. All right, when you good.
Another low throw. Henninghausen quickly ahead for Russell. Hastings back and forth with Henninghausen. Stewart is there.
This one's coming back on either a pick or travel call.
Someone needs to give that news to Stewart.
There was a late call.
I think J.D. Hastings got so open for that dump because he took Soljanik around Kevin Mateer, opening up that space for him to throw it down the break side.
Brad, it's got to be one.
I didn't hear your pick call, so we don't know when that happened. And we can't, I don't know who threw the disc to you? You're saying. Guys, what do you think it is? Guys, what do you think it is? What do you think it is? I don't know enough to make an assessment.
You guys are pushing up this one. I was this close to
Okay, so it's over there. Okay. Great.
Well, I'm just asking what the stall is. That's all I want.
Okay.
Is there a stall?
Let's get this pick louder next time, guys, so we can all hear.
Come in one, we're here.
Not a goal. Wilmington, though, keeps the disc. Looking to tie this thing up at 6. It's a game to 15. We'll take the half at 8. Great defense on the reset attempt. Soljanik.
Hastings may have gotten the body position to beat him up line, but Yannick exploding and accelerating to make up the ground and get the block.
All right, so we're staying here?
See Hastings get that inside
All right,
position.
when defense is ready, go ahead.
And then Yannick makes up the ground from behind.
Back to live action, deep ball, end zone, score. Eric Taylor elevating for Carleton.
So just when Wilmington was close to the end zone and close to tying this game up, Yannick gets the fantastic block, and Taylor elevates for the goal. Joe White unafraid to shoot deep. We saw him throw one or two potentially costly turnovers in the semifinal yesterday.
Well, on Universe Point, he tried to huck up win, Joe White did, and it did not work out for Carleton. After the game, from the Carleton Cut Twitter account around 4:12 yesterday, a tweet arrived, quote, "This is Joe. I don't think I'm going to throw any more upwind backhands," unquote. This was a downwind shot to make it 7-5. Carleton trying to take this to half. They won their first game, beating Auburn 15-8, and then played a really sloppy matchup against University of North Carolina. Dark side won 15-10, but ever since then, Carleton has made the clutch plays when they've needed to, especially in that comeback against Colorado. It was all Mama Bird for the first 8-9 points of that game, and then things shifted. It left Colorado out of the bracket entirely, and Carleton all of a sudden had a tough path, but they found their mojo. Still no Jack Williams out there for UNCW. They have taken down all comers: A&M, UConn, Pitt, Michigan, Washington, and UNC. Carleton knocking off the #1 seed UMass yesterday. There's Jack Williams, Brian Casey, the coach of UNCW. Not an adversity-free season for him, obviously. The UNC-Wilmington program going through some strife throughout the year. First, they were getting ready to go to the Carolina kickoff, and because of a violation of a club sports policy, they couldn't travel to Chapel Hill. And then Brian Casey in early February was suspended by USA Ultimate a couple days before the Queen City tune-up for ethical violations. The facts of the case are still very much in dispute. Casey had to re-undergo coaching training, write a couple apology letters, do community service. The players, for what it's worth, stood by him through that entire stretch. And it's certainly been part of UNCW's 2017 journey. What a catch by Russell. The towering freshman from Jersey comes up huge, and it's 7-6.
Once again, we see this Seamen O-line playing and executing with a next man up philosophy. Williams isn't out there to distribute. Mateer takes on a bigger role throwing. Williams isn't out there to receive, and other throwers aren't out there to distribute or receive. And Russell comes up to make the big play. Really impressed by the depth and confidence of this Seamen offensive unit, a testament to Casey's coaching.
Mateer to Russell. And now Carleton will try to go downwind to take half. Carleton broke to make it 2-1 and 3-1. UNCW got a break back, tying it at 4. But Carleton, when it was tied 5-all, got 2 straight. Up 7-5 on the break to Taylor. There's Casey. passionate leader of this UNCW program. He's an alum. Graduated 2009. Joe White on the under. Natan Lee Engel marked tightly.
We see Hastings drawing the Olsen matchup. An agile defender as Olsen shoots deep.
Vestal and Fisher. Shy of the end zone. Fisher takes a timeout. And perhaps there's a call, and this might come back. Travel was called on the throw by Olsen. So hang on a minute. It looked like Carleton was inches away from taking half. And the observers confirmed the travel.
He dragged his toe on that fake.
Yeah, that was bouncing all around there.
His feet were moving ever so subtly, but once you establish that pivot foot, you gotta keep it in place.
Birdsong had White, but he holstered. Tough catch by Fisher. Sneaks it past the bidding defender. And Birdsong. And a stoppage. It's a pick.
Saying 4. When you're ready.
See Olsen dragging his pivot foot there too.
No calls this time. Carleton takes half on a forehand shot to Dylan Lanier. Turnover free hold from Carleton. And remember, Ian, cut will receive to start the second half. They're up a couple breaks.
You see Lanier just taking his mark from the stack, a quick little fake to the break side. And then once he gets that defender to commit to the break side, he accelerates over to that force side cone.
Brian Casey joining us down on the field. Brian, you guys have overcome so much adversity with Grayson and Austin. What's it like to lose Matt?
Ellis is a standout freshman for us. I'm not sure how it actually happened, but that's a big loss.
How will you guys overcome that, and what will your message points be here at halftime?
It's just next man up. We have a lot of guys that haven't got as many points as they probably want to, so hopefully them being fresh parlays into some Ds later on in the second half.
Any update on Jack Williams' status?
Jack's playing defense. We're going to try to have him convert some breaks there.
How many deep breaths do you have to take to be this calm? Because I know you're an intense guy on the sidelines.
I don't know. You want me to quantify it? Like 4.
I appreciate you going with it. Brian, good luck in the second half. Thanks.
All right, thanks, guys.
That's Brian Casey, the head coach of UNC-Wilmington. 8-6 is the score. Carleton by 2 breaks at the break. Matt Ellis of UNC-Wilmington on crutches, which is bad news for the men from Eastern North Carolina. And yet we've seen them overcome all sorts of adversity throughout the season and throughout the weekend. It's Carleton leading 8-6 at the half. Couple breaks early after UNCW got the game's first score, then 3 straight for cut.
And Alex Olsen making his presence known with a nice deep shot to Henry Fisher early on. Saul Yannick and Padilla working well after the turnover to cash in that important first upwind break. And Jack Williams doing everything he can to keep his team in this one, catching the disc in tight spaces, shooting the disc up the break side. But one crucial mistake that he did make was that short field turnover. Natan Lee Angle poaching off the stack and making Williams pay for that one. But as we mentioned, you know, Williams doing what he can to keep his team in this game. Casey stating that he'll only play defense in the second half, likely due to some undisclosed injury that's limiting his full potential.
And you wonder if that'll be enough for Wilmington.
J.D. Hastings is going to have to shoulder even more of the distributing load for Wilmington.
Pretty good half from Stanley Birdsong. The assist to make it 6-5. And then this great sky from Russell, the 6'4" freshman. But then Birdsong taking it to half to Carleton, connecting with Lanier to make it 8-6. And Carleton coach Nick Stewart is down on the field. And we will chat with him right now. Coach, your thoughts on how that first half transpired. What did you like about the way your team played?
We're just out there working hard right now. I think, you know, we've got 20 people who've played so far, which I think is a huge number and really shows our depth. We're just out there celebrating being at Nationals and playing one more game together.
Nick, what did you and Phil emphasize to the boys in the halftime huddle?
In the halftime huddle, we're just emphasizing keeping the energy up. We know that no lead is safe, and that we just got to keep rolling.
We asked Brian Casey yesterday about the UNCW program. Obviously, Carleton has a special place in the Ultimate community. Can you summarize what drew you to this program and what it means to you after all these years?
Carleton is truly a lifelong program. Our alumni network is incredible. Being at the school and playing with the group of guys that I played with, it's really hard to put into words, Evan.
Well, you got one national title when you were a player, and you're trying to coach your squad to another. Go enjoy it, and best of luck.
Thanks, Evan. Cut rules.
Cut rules is the slogan in Northfield, Minnesota. It's also a Twitter account for Carleton Ultimate. 8-6, Carleton by 2 breaks. Getting the disc when we come back. Bunch of different goal scorers in the first half for each team. 6 different goal scorers for UNC-Wilmington and 7 for Carleton. Taylor finding the end zone twice. Padilla and Birdsong each dishing a pair of goals. And all things considered, a quiet half for Jack Williams. His coach said he would only play deep points in the second half. Is that going to be enough? We'll find out. He had 9 assists in the semis yesterday. Can he lead UNCW on another comeback? We'll find out. Carleton College trying to close out its 4th national title. UNCW trying to rally for its 2nd. Last year, we had a championship game between 2 schools that had never won before, Minnesota and Harvard. Gray Duck outlasting Redline in 2016 in Raleigh. Carleton going downwind on offense to begin the second half. And Ian, want to get your thoughts on the Jack Williams situation and the fact that his coach says he'll play deep points in the second half.
You know, clearly there's some kind of more significant injury. We saw him limping around that is a little more debilitating than he may be letting on or we're able to uncover at this point. And, you know, I hear the arguments for both sides. If he's limited, just put him on offense so that you can have more control. And of course, as we say this, there's Williams bidding to try and make a play.
I'm not sure how Hastings didn't come up with that D. It went right off his hand.
But the perspective that I understand and probably resonates with me the most as we see this deep shot here.
It was well bracketed by the Wilmington defense, and Warfel comes up with a block.
This is the situation that you want Jack on the field for. The D-line offensive situation, because he is one of your most capable and judicious throwers and receivers. And these breaks are so critical to getting your team back in the game and potentially giving them the lead. I think you need him out there to capitalize on these defensive break opportunities.
There he is, chased by Dylan Lanier. Struggling to find a reset. Has to swing it about 30 yards across the field, losing 15 in the process. Pretty good offense so far. Obviously, this would be gigantic for Wilmington if they could punch this in. Huge difference between 8-7 and 9-6. There's a foul coming.
Are you saying that to me?
Sure. I mean, I'm fine.
Yeah, observer ruling that's a foul.
And Mateer will get the disc back because he was fouled.
Here we go. Jack Williams. Nope.
And he sure looks healthy to us, but and then he's limping as he gets up.
Yeah, no limp on the sprint. Adrenaline, a powerful drug. He'll continue to grind through it. Oh, so close. Warfel couldn't get to his second D on the point. Fisher was breaking long, but the disc swung to Yannick. Lots of great players have worn the Carlton jersey. Grant Lindsley and Nick Stewart on the U.S. World Games team in 2017, former champs at Carlton. Guys like Sam Canner and Alex Nord. I mean, I shouldn't get started because you could just go on for a while.
Go on for a while, for sure.
Simon Montague, one of the great throwers in the sport. Obviously, you can't forget Chase Sparling Beckley. And this Carlton team, maybe even more balanced than some of the past championship teams. You heard Nick Stewart say 20 different players saw the field in the first half, and they hold after a turnover apiece to lead 9-6.
Great work by Olsen to get that upline position and a nice, easy downwind hammer. No Wilmington defenders in the vicinity pursuing on the break side. Lots of time for Lee Engel to make the catch, and Yannick was there to make sure just in case.
Natan Lee Engel, one of 4 members of this Carlton team with Olsen, Rittmeyer, and Yannick that were on the USA 2014 U19 squad that went to Lecco. Actually took a silver medal in that game when Darren Wu of Canada skied Terrence Mitchell of the USA in the Universe Point final. But all those players, you look at that 2014 Junior Worlds roster, and you could look at the 2016 Junior Worlds roster. It's really fun to go back and look at those squads and realize, oh yeah, wow, this team was really incredible.
Right. When you factor in where players have gone on to compete and what they've achieved at the college and club levels.
Mateer looking deep for Russell. Got him. Wilmington putting a lot of trust into Connor Russell today.
And you saw Russell yelling to his teammates after that goal, "Are you kidding me? He can't guard me." Saying that Padilla is a matchup he'd prefer to have for the rest of this game. really impressed with Kevin Mateer. As we mentioned earlier, so many offensive playmakers on the sidelines for Wilmington at this stage of the tournament, and Mateer stepping up and delivering great deep shots and break throws when his team needs them.
It's good to be young. Russell from Westfield, New Jersey, just 18 years old. You wonder if he'll come back to nationals next year at 6'5" or 6'6", listed at 6'4" as an 18-year-old. The reports on Jack Williams, by the way, we're understanding that it's a hamstring issue, and we're told he's around 60% for what that's worth.
Having battled many a hamstring pull and tweak in my career, I understand how tricky those are to deal with. But, you know, if there's any game or any situation where you're going to risk it, this is the setting where you might throw caution to the wind and see how far you can push it as Lee Engel shoots deep.
Looking for Olsen. Warfel, the defender, and Olsen shows off the versatility. Typically throwing scores. Now Alex Olsen, the Carleton deep threat, cut 5 points away from a title. We talked about Alex Olsen at the top of the show. The junior from Seattle with 2 goals and 2 assists, leading the Carleton offense here in the championship game.
As you said, Evan, more often than not, he's been the one throwing these deep shots, but a fantastic throw from Natan Lee Engel and a great grab under pressure by Olsen.
That made it 10-7 Carleton. UNC-Wilmington, of course, came back from a 4-goal deficit yesterday. Jack Williams only playing deep points so far in the second half. He's on the sidelines for UNCW. Henninghausen pressured by White, over to Russell. Nice touch on that flick to Stewart. Good movement from Wilmington. Travel called on Henninghausen.
All right, you want to cut me on this? All right, my ruling is no travel. I'm staying here.
Where are you rolling? Where are you rolling?
Joe White's travel call overruled. Pretty good march so far from UNCW. Great bid. Hennighausen fully horizontal and getting physical with White as he rose.
Nice break off the line there by Willie Stewart.
White. And not to the intended target, but why not? Kyle Warfel cleans up the trash. That was fortunate.
And a great possession-saving grab by Hennighausen there. And Stewart may have been the intended receiver, but great effort there and great awareness at the front of the stack by Kyle Warfel to secure that hold for the Seamen offense.
The senior from Fayetteville, North Carolina. And there's Mateer. He'll be back, just a junior. Colin White's only a sophomore. What do you think about the proliferation of eye black in Ultimate, both men's and women's?
I like it more than I like 5-panel flat brim hats. I'll tell you that much.
Really? Not a fan of the trendy hats.
You know, the eye black is more universal, applicable to other sports and activities. I may be in the minority on this one, I understand.
Lee Engel, Olsen, Lanier, Birdsong, Fisher, Rittmeyer, and the intended target, Walker, who may have been fouled by Kevin Huerta. Let's see.
All right, what?
I went through and I missed everything. I hit him in the chest.
I got no foul here, though.
There was definitely a lot of pushing from the back.
Pushing from the back? Okay. Okay. All right, so you guys coming to us?
Yeah.
All right, yes. Observer ruling, yes, it was a foul. It's off at the disc here on 1.
How about that?
So it looks like the contact that the observers saw was in the back, maybe before Huerta had started to bid. A great bid and great block, but contact before that is technically illegal.
Birdsong quickly back to Olsen. Shooting it to Birdsong. That was a dime.
Olsen's got such great vision on the line, looking across the field, surveying all of his options, and then recognizing when the defense is out of position and executing a blade that had to get there relatively quickly. And you see Mateer poaching off for a second and leaving his Birdsong assignment. He didn't think that Olsen would have the guts or the wherewithal to put that disc down that sideline in a tight window.
We get a timeout on the field. 11-8 here in the men's final. About 12.5 minutes away from a potential soft cap. And if you missed it earlier, we want to show you once again the slide for the World Games, which will be held this July in Poland. The World Games basically is the Olympics for the sports that aren't yet in the Olympics. And of course, USA Ultimate hopeful that the sport of ultimate could join the Olympics as soon as 2024. World Games are actually coming to the U.S. in 2021 in Birmingham. And the U.S. roster, what stands out to you, Ian?
I think it's really impressive that Bo Kittredge has been able to make the roster for a third time now in his mid-30s.
And he'll be 35 in June.
There's no doubt that he's a premier talent, a potentially unmatched athlete in our game. But the fact that he's been able to perform and compete and impose at such a high level for so long. You know, you see players ending their careers in their late 20s or early 30s. And he's been able to keep his game elevated for so long.
And these are the alternates who got the bad news, unfortunately. They're still going to be practicing. They got a couple more practice weekends in San Francisco in June. They're going to Potlatch as a team. And, you know, Nick Stewart would tell us there's certainly an awkward feeling to it, but there is a small window if an injury happens in the next couple weeks. There could be a change. Obviously, not that any of those 6 players are hoping for that, because you do bond as a 20-person team. And I remember at the U.S. Open, I think it was 2014, maybe 2015, George Stubbs was doing a panel talking about his experience captaining Team USA. And there were members of that USA World Games team that were in the audience listening to the talk. And he referred to them as their teammates, as his teammates, even though they didn't compete together in Cali, Colombia. So there's a forever bond between those 20 players that made the initial roster. No question about it.
Deep pull here by Carleton, forcing Wilmington to start deep in their own end zone, and a wonderful block by Padilla, halting the Wilmington fast break.
Freshman from Lexington, Mass. And Yannick takes another timeout for Carleton.
Great block by Padilla. No question that he got to the disc first. Stewart just moving a bit too quickly for his own good. Perhaps could have put that disc slightly more outside to make it harder to reach, or given a quick pump fake.
Well, Carleton trying to win its 4th title. Last year it was University of Minnesota Grey Duck. First title for them, UNC's Dark Side. 2015, Colorado Mama Bird behind Jimmy Mickle and Stanley Peterson and others, winning their first title since Bo Kittredge was on Mama Bird back in 2004. The program Pittsburgh has created, they have not won a title since they won 2 straight behind the Thorne brothers and Tyler DiGirolamo. But obviously what they've continued to do in terms of regular season success, coming into nationals with a chance to win every year, and that Florida team led by Brody Smith. Talked to Brody recently. He's been rehabbing a string of injuries. He's hopeful to be back on the ultimate field in a couple months. He says he's in the best shape of his life.
Brody was a dominant force here at the college championships, and
I think he had 10 assists in one of those finals.
2010, he was playing against Carleton, as we see a lot of contact at the front of the stack.
Yeah, definitely blue. Yeah, yep. Hey, you gotta be careful on that, all right? All right.
And a blue card issued to Mateer for physical play. That's a team misconduct foul. You get a few too many of those and it can result in a yardage penalty.
Dangerous throw near the sideline, kept alive. Ethan Bloodworth, freshman from Durham. Back to Taylor. White to Yannick. Well, maybe UNC-Wilmington's got Carleton right where they want him, because it's 12-8. Carleton by 4. Soljanic's first goal of the game, making it 12-8 Carleton. Good red zone offense from Cut. Only one turnover in the second half for Carleton College so far.
Great confidence from Joe White in the red zone, finding space at the front of the stack and breaking the mark.
Jack Williams out there on offense for the first time in the second half. That's high and out of bounds.
And I think there's a foul call.
We have a call.
No contest from Taylor.
Hold up. Let him set. Let him set.
And got him with a foot.
Yeah, just at the point of release, kicked his hand.
Hastings, nice loft and great elevation from Warfel, but just a few too many mistakes from Wilmington. Deep shot, Joe White, he's got it.
And that's a tough one for Hennighausen. He dropped the disc. You saw him put his head down for a second, and he didn't recover on defense right away. You know, understand everyone's going to make some mistakes, but you gotta rebound and get back on defense right away, because Joe White, as you'll see here, just takes off to the end zone, and Soljanik sees Hennighausen not yet caught up, out of position, and sends that shot to the end zone. Time out, North Carolina-Wilmington.
After Joe White made a mistake on Universe Point yesterday, and he apologized for it, Phil Bowen, the coach of Carleton, said something that really, I think, reflects the Carleton program. He said, the thing we preach all year is that the mistake doesn't matter, it's how you respond. We live by that. I hope our team is 100% unafraid to make mistakes, because they know that they'll always have the support of their teammates and they'll always be given a chance to respond. We never hang our heads. And that ethos has brought Carleton to this point with such depth, such versatility. 2 points from a title.
Have to say, this feels eerily familiar to the situation that Wilmington was in yesterday. Their opponent in the driver's seat late in the second half, a sizable margin.
At what point do the injuries pile up and become too much to overcome?
I think the next few points might tell us the answer.
Carleton's Eric Taylor getting ready to pull with White, Mobby, Yannick, Schock. Fisher's out there, and Padilla. Carleton's O-line largely resting right now. Pretty good upwind pull. Stewart. Deep shot. Henninghausen tipped off his hands. He's calling a foul.
Joe White had position on the backside.
All right. Yep, no, I heard you. Yeah. Observer ruling. That is a foul. It's going to stay here.
All right. Observer ruling is a foul.
And the observers will uphold Henninghausen's foul call. It's going to be his disc on the goal line.
Pick was called.
What's our stall right
Back
there?
to Henninghausen.
Saying 4.
Hastings.
That's in.
Really tough to guard in those small spaces.
Hastings, one of the more agile players on the field, making him especially tough to defend. Like you said, Evan, in those small spaces. Nice touch on this throw. A little fade out to space. And Hastings accelerating to the front cone.
Not the typical celebration, the outpour of emotion after a score from the Wilmington players that we've come to expect. That, more than anything, is the different feeling today compared to yesterday. But we'll see if they can muster that momentum.
Perhaps fatigue taking its toll, perhaps the gravity and reality of the situation setting in. 2 points away from a season's end.
This Carleton team beat Minnesota 3 out of 4 times they met them this year, losing in the regional final, but qualifying for nationals in the 3-bid North Central. Minnesota, Carleton, and Wisconsin, 3 incredibly strong programs. Yannick looking Fisher's way.
Mateer had no idea where that disc was.
Caught him in the back of the neck.
But he was in the right spot. You know, that's a lot of coaches teach defensive principles of when the disc goes up, take a quick look at the disc, but then turn your eye to the man and make up ground on the man as much as you can, rather than keeping your eyes back on the disc, because you tend to run more slowly when you're keeping your eye on the disc at the same time. And Mateer just did a good job accelerating to the man as quickly as he could, and he's rewarded with a block.
Mateer does take a sub. Stewart back on. Eric Taylor back on for Carleton.
And that was the same throw that cost Jack Williams a turnover. But Wilmington able to preserve possession there. And
Williams, the stall count rising, just had to get rid of it, and Warfel came back to the disc. Williams shot for Henninghausen. Birdsong tips it away.
that's a fantastic defensive block. It looked as though Henninghausen might have position to start, but Birdsong makes up ground, gets the disc at the high point. And you saw Henninghausen go up early, Great pressure and positioning from Birdsong.
Carlton 2 scores away. Tremendous defense from Warfel. Wilmington needs one big play. Jack Williams is there. Anything is possible.
Incredible recognition from Werfel. Poaching off his man from the stack, flying through the air to get the block. And Stewart just had eyes for Williams in the end zone as soon as he got that disc back. 60% hamstring looking all right, huh, Evan?
You see the Wilmington superstar. It's obvious what he's doing. And there's so many different types of hamstring pulls. Some that just linger with you for a while, some that totally debilitate you. I know you trying to come back from one right now, and you know they're all different.
Takes a lot of patience, depending on where you're at in your season, to make sure you're fully healed and everything around there is as strong as it needs to be so that you don't have any re-injury occurrences. And that's something that can happen frequently with those types of injuries.
Spectacular pull to the back corner to Olsen. Yannick out there on offense for Carleton. White beats Williams to the disc just barely. Lanier. White was all alone, and yet they didn't want to test Williams.
Yeah, Williams pointed. Oh, Willie Stewart thought he was going to be able to make a block, but ended up body checking Olsen.
Ooh.
And it was interesting before this, when White was streaking deep, Williams pointed to other defenders to help him cover for the streaking White, but no one picked up the man.
Olsen stays in the game to Yannick. Taylor. White. Williams thinks he had the block.
The way that disc ricocheted backwards makes me think that it was a clean block. You don't see it go backwards if it's still in his hand.
Was a foul?
That's close. And the observers uphold the foul call.
To the end zone for Olsen. Carleton's within one more score of a title. 14-10 on the offensive march upwind.
Just like we've seen pretty much all game long, great red zone patience from Carleton. Capable handlers in Olsen and Yannick. Moving the disc laterally, communicating aggressively with their fakes, moving the mark.
It's interesting to see Olsen and Yannick out there together, the respective quarterbacks of the O-line and the D-line, conspiring for that goal. Timeout was called by UNCW. Ian, this might be your last chance to put this weekend, Nationals 2017, in perspective. Began Friday morning with 20 men's teams and 20 women's teams. We talked yesterday how there weren't too many surprises on Friday. There wasn't the same level of intensity, certainly, as what we would see on Saturday, when an air of desperation filled every huddle, every sideline. And Saturday is when this tournament really began. In the women's division, UBC, Dartmouth, Colorado, and Texas, the semifinalists. No Stanford, no Virginia. The biggest surprising absences, certainly Oregon played well in pool play, but could not get past Colorado. And Dartmouth, Princess Leia, the champs in the women's division, behind Angela Zhu and Jacqueline Verjou. And in the men's division, Universe Point Thrillers in the semis. Carleton's a point away from its 4th national title. Your thoughts on the weekend?
So this is my last chance to complain about 5-panel flat brim hats. Is that what you're saying?
Well, you got about 5-6 more minutes.
Okay. No, I think we're reminded every year that there's no tournament like college nationals. The passion, the excitement, the atmosphere, every single game has meaning. Careers and seasons are on the line, coming to an end. Been impressed with the level of sportsmanship and competition all around both divisions. Great strides, especially from this Wilmington Seamen program. Sad to see it come to a close.
That's true. That's true. Cincinnati doing a fine job hosting for the 2nd time in 4 years. World Ultimate and Club Championships coming to Cincinnati next summer, WUCC 2018. How about that scuba? And it almost worked. Yannick caught it, but a foul was called. And Yannick gives Stewart the disc. I don't think UNCW has a timeout left. If he called timeout, it would be a turnover. Stewart makes it 14-11. Williams pads his stats. 14-11, Carleton's O-line retaking the field with a championship at stake.
Great scuba there, great vision from Williams. Yannick impacting Stewart's forearm and taking the disc from him. It was a foul. Quick find for Williams into the end zone. And we may have said something about this earlier, but the gravity of the situation is absolutely setting in now. Not only for the Wilmington players, but for the Wilmington fans and supporters here in the stands.
There's Brian Casey. You see Matt Ellis, the freshman who's been the team's leading goal scorer through the tournament, suffered the injury, his right foot taped up. From the back of the end zone, Carleton has to go about 90 yards. Bidding defender could not get there. Taylor to White. Birdsong. Now Fisher going deep. Henry Fisher wins it for Carleton. There are no calls and cut rules in 2017. For the 4th time in school history, Carleton College USA Ultimate National Champions. The USA Ultimate College Championships are brought to you in part by Discraft Ultrastar. Find the official disc of USA Ultimate at more than 1,900 U.S. retail locations. By 5 Ultimate, making life better for Ultimate players from the end zone to the dance floor. And by USAA Insurance, banking and investments tailored for the military community. 2001, 2009, 2011, and now again in 2017, Carleton College National Champs, USAU Men's Ultimate at the college division. Our Discraft play of the game, Alex Olson, making things happen all game long, and Carleton able to win it on a deep shot from Olson to Fisher.
So fitting that Olson and Fisher were involved in this final score. So instrumental to Carleton's success throughout the entire weekend.
The team's leading goal scorer and the team's leading distributor. For Ian Toner, Evan Lepler signing off from Bishop Fenwick High School. Carleton, national champs, they win at 15-11. All games airing on the ESPN networks are also streaming live on the ESPN app to watch the entire game on replay, as well as other games on the family of ESPN networks. Log on to watchespn.com. Coming up next here on ESPNU, National Lacrosse Semifinals. Carleton College, the national champs. Another great college nationals is in the books, and in the men's division, Carleton College going from pre-quarters all the way to the championship game where they surpassed UNC-Wilmington. Phil Bowen, the head coach of Carleton, we appreciate your patience. We just wanted to give you some time to be able to articulate how this feels, the 4th title for Carleton. Can you put it into words?
Yeah, it's pretty special. Before I say anything, though, I want to give a shout-out to my family at home. Without their support, I wouldn't be able to be here. So, hi, Paige. Hi, Odin Siri. I told you we were going to win. But, yes, 4th title, that's pretty sweet. Every so often, there's talk that, Carleton is kind of on the way down. The big schools are coming back. And it feels really good to put those doubters, or put those doubts to rest, rather. We have such a special group this year. These guys are amazing, from the leaders, the captains, to the seniors, to the freshmen. It's been a great season. This is a great way to end it.
Phil, your team is so young this year. How have you guys been able to cultivate success and confidence in such a young group of players?
Well, like I've said before, I think the part of what enables them to become part of the team so quickly is that they come from good programs with good coaching. They have good habits when they arrive at Carleton, so it's not a matter of developing them very much, but otherwise just sort of bringing them into the culture of what cut is, bringing them to the culture of playing for each other, playing with each other, being selfless, making your teammates better.
How does this team stand out compared to the other championship teams you've seen and coached at Carleton?
Right. This team would kill them all.
Yeah?
Yep.
Because of the coaching, surely. With all those young players, we're not going to talk about 2018, but what was the key to getting this win today, aside from trusting each other and playing your system? Give me a couple turning points in your mind when you felt you guys took care of business to wrap up this 15-11 win.
Right. Well, I think it really began on Saturday when we really found an extra level of energy against Colorado and then against Michigan. And, man, the momentum just began rolling from there. We really started to believe in each other. We started believing in ourselves. And, I don't know, the shackles just came off, and we were ready to go.
Again, Phil, we really appreciate your time. We'll let you go enjoy it. Congratulations, and we look forward to seeing you down the road.
Yep, thanks.
Phil Bowen of Carleton College cut a champion again in USAU Men's College Ultimate, and well, it's a warm day. It was 80 degrees today, so that's got to feel particularly good. And Alex Olson, he's experiencing the dousing as well a little bit. The final 15-11 Carleton over UNCW. Not nearly as close as yesterday's pair of Universe Point semifinals, but this was Alex Olson's quarterbacking that started the game and ended the game for the team in red.
Someone we expected to be involved in a lot of the scoring, a lot of distributing, and he made his presence felt. Carleton able to make the most of UNC-Wilmington's unforced errors as we get a shot at Saul Yannick shooting into the end zone for Joe White. And the final point here, so fitting that Olson and Fisher were able to connect.
Alex Olson, one of his dozens of assists throughout the weekend. I believe he finished with 24 exactly. And Alex Olson joins us now. Congratulations. You guys suffered a loss on Friday against UNC. Were there moments of doubt during and after that game of whether you could be in this spot on Memorial Day Monday?
It was definitely a loss, but it was easy to bounce back from. I think during that loss, we just tried to do too much as individuals, and that resulted in us not performing as well as we wanted to. So we definitely responded from that, and I think the results show.
Alex, you got so many young teammates who are new to the program in their first year. Dylan Lanier, Joe White, some others who've had such a huge impact. Can you talk about how they've been able to come into the program and have such a big impact in their first year?
I think due to their ultimate backgrounds, they just have such strong fundamentals, and they immediately became incredibly cohesive with the team and easy to trust. I was gone in the winter, and coming back in the spring, it was just as easy to meld back in and trust them 100% on the field. I also just want to take a moment to give a shout out to all the parents and supporters who came out today. We had a huge sideline presence, and a huge support group from the fans. So that was greatly appreciated. Thank you all.
You're incredibly gracious. Young throwers out there who want to one day put together a performance like you did in the semifinals or finals, what's your advice to them?
Throw every day. Just get tons of reps. I think that's what it comes down to. Throw with other good throwers. Find a mentor, find mentors, and with practice comes, the acquiring of skills.
Who are the people you most looked up to as a thrower?
Today it was Natan back in the handler set. Downfield it was Henry Fisher and Joe White.
Well, Alex, we'll let you go. Congratulations. Go enjoy it with your teammates. And you're just a junior, so who knows? Maybe we'll see you back here next year.
Thank you.
Alex Olson, the star handler from Carleton College Cut. They're the champs in the men's division. Of course, in the women's division, a great tournament as well. Dartmouth and Texas getting past UBC and Colorado. And here's some of the highlights from the women's final earlier today that started on serve through the first 9 points. It was 5-4 before Jacqueline Verjou was too much and too good.
Yeah, Jacqueline Verjou winning the Julia Schmaltz matchup and persevering through the wind, able to connect multiple times with Angela Zhu, make a number of highlight reel grabs, including this one. And it didn't matter what the Texas defense threw their way, whether it was a zone look or a straight matchup look. Dartmouth was confident enough to persevere offensively.
Piper Curtis, the game-winning goal. It's the first national title for Dartmouth Princess Layout. And Jacqueline Verjou, just a sophomore. Who knows what she'll have in store in the years to come at nationals. So Dartmouth in the women's division and Carleton in the men's division. Two programs that certainly will be back in the future. It's a privilege to be here at Nationals, and we thank you for being with us throughout the weekend. Ultiworld did a great job covering and through the semifinals, and it's a blast to be alongside my buddy Ian Toner. I'm Evan Lepler saying so long from Cincinnati, where Dartmouth and Carleton are the champs in 2017. So long, everybody.